Make sure it's turning the right way for you because it looks like it's not here.
All right, what is up, everybody? Chris Curtis here with the Rockwall Sportscenter update. Of course, sponsored by Rockwall Sportscenter. Of course, joined by my partners in crime, Billy Quinton and Stan Britton, part of your Rockwall and Rockwall Heath broadcast. We're here from the Flower Box here on the campus of Rest Haven here in Rockwall. Super excited that Miss Kane was able to host us here this afternoon. Guys, first of all, welcome back. Of course, a big week for you guys. On Friday night, we had a 50-7 beating of Rowlett, of course, and of course a double overtime thriller for the Rockwall Heath Hawks. Let's start with Rockwall getting back on the trend, getting back on the winning ways for 2019. Big win, a big statement win for the Rockwall Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, everything clicked for Rockwall on this one. It was exactly what the doctor ordered. The offense just kept moving. They were doing well against Highland Park, so they just kept that train going down the tracks. And in fact, I don't think they missed a beat. But it was good to see the defense come out there and make some really, really big plays and basically have a shutout till the very end of the game when a lot of guys that were getting some playing time for the first time got in and allowed Rowlett to get down the field and get one last touchdown, or their first touchdown, which was their last touchdown, to make it a 50-7 game. But it's good for the team. It's good for the starters to get in there, have two really good quarters. They take a breather for the second half, and then you have a lot of kids get in there that played well, did well against the first-string Rowlett team for most of that second half, and still put some points on the board, played well on defense, and so they get some experience, they get some playing time, which will help Rockwall on down the road. So it's good to be 1-1, and now we look towards Bowie.
Absolutely. Welcome everybody in. Once again, we are at the Flower Box here in Rockwall. We're talking a little Rockwall Yellow Jacket football and Heath Hawk football as well. And let's get right back to the Heath Hawks, a double overtime thriller against Wiley. Stan, you were there. Of course, it was at home at the Wilk, so kind of talk about the atmosphere there. Exciting game, and it turns out for a good thing for the good guys.
Yeah, first Friday night game for your Hawks, and a great crowd out at the Wilk. It's, again, just a whole different feel this year with the Mike Stradlin era and the new culture at Heath. There's just an entirely different feel, and noticeable from the stands all the way down to how the guys come on the field for pregame and then even after the game with the thriller, the overtime thriller, double overtime thriller. But it's a great environment, great atmosphere. Everybody's excited, and it turned out to be everything everybody expected. Coach Brown told us that Wiley was a good team, that their first game really wasn't a good indication of who they were as a team, and they did not disappoint. So lots to talk about as we go through the show tonight.
Absolutely, and of course, the big talk around college football is who is the king of the DB University. Of course, defensive backs. Here in Rockwall, we got our own little controversy brewing in a way. Two sophomore quarterbacks, you could almost say QBU, of course. Braden Locke over at Rockwall, and of course, Josh Hoover over at Rockwall Heath. Guys, talk about your leaders, sophomores. They're babies, and they are becoming grown men real fast. Talk about their leadership and how they've kind of shocked the world as far as the first 2 weeks ago. Let's talk Rockwall.
Well, first of all, let me go back to the DBU deal. There's only one DBU, and that's Dallas Baptist, because I spent thousands of dollars for that place, and that has to be the only DBU. Let me just put it.
I graduated from there 18 years ago, and I'm still paying $1,000 for that.
So let's settle that.
Let's settle that right now.
Especially for two teams that gave up close to 800 yards in passing.
Yes.
Neither one can argue about DBU.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll let you have that one.
Let's stop that.
I'll let you have that one.
Let's stop that. Now, as far as our sophomore quarterbacks, man, we couldn't be more thrilled. Me and Stan were talking about it before we went on air, how great an experience this is for us to see these kids come in and just excel from the start. We got 3 years of this, which is very, very exciting. And to see both of them do well, going towards Braden Locke here, getting to know him and having a good time watching him, it's just incredible to watch how well he has mastered this offense so far. And it's not just the physical things of the great passes and all that. It's making the right reads, and that's very difficult for these boys to figure out, especially in this day and age of these defenses that are coming at them. It's not like back in our day when it was pretty much a 4-3, and You may have a linebacker blitz and
Right.
play man-to-man,
Right.
maybe cover 2, and then that's it. Here, you don't know what's coming at you. And Braden is doing an outstanding job making the reads and not only doing that, but, of course, hitting the right guys. And then, of course, you have that running game. He does not run a lot, which I think we expect him to run a little bit more, but he doesn't need to. We got a really good running game behind him with Zach Henry and Catlett. Catlett came in and played a majority of the game this last game, and I think that helps. And, of course, this offensive line that is maybe the best offensive line we've had since Coach Webb has been here. So you throw all that together, the receiving corps, we didn't have to mention, that's just maybe the best in Texas. But you throw that in, and then you throw in Braden's talent. It's unbelievable to watch this team and watch what they do out there. So I'm very excited about seeing what they're doing from here on out.
And, of course, we knew Braden was coming, but I don't think a lot of people were kind of hitting on Josh Hoover. Heath knew about him.
Right.
But Josh Hoover kind of making his name on the scene here real quick.
Yeah,
Talk about Josh.
He did. I mean, you obviously have a senior quarterback coming in with Tavin Paxton, and it was a battle all summer for these guys to try and figure out who the quarterback was going to be. And we didn't even know right up until the first snap. Tavin was listed on the depth chart as the number one quarterback. And first snap, we go, well, wait a minute, that's Josh Hoover. And Tavin's played safety in both games. And so, really great to see that Josh has been able to come into his own. He actually has a receiving core. We actually threw the ball over the line of scrimmage. We talked about that after we.
Well, that's what I said. The forward pass is an exceptional tool.
It is.
It's really good to use.
And when you're used to playing the wing T, like there's no such thing as a forward pass in the wing T offense. So to be able, Heath has been able to introduce different offensive sets, and we're seeing now you've got vertical threats on both sides of the field with Casey Curtin, Corbin Cleveland, and Jaden Jones. We basically only have wide receivers with the double initials, double C's or double J's. So we basically have opened up an offense that Heath hasn't seen in a couple of years, and it's been neat to see this sophomore quarterback come in and act like he's been doing this for a long time. A little side note: Hoover has a little brother who's an 8th grader. And so there's a good chance you could have 5 years of Hoover at quarterback.
We got to get a Hoover vacuum sponsor at some point for that.
We need something.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, that's great for this Rockwall County. They're going to have 2 quarterbacks. They're going to be sophomores. They're going to go against each other here for the next couple of years. Let's kind of shift back to Rockwall. We kind of talk about the game in general. Pretty good rivalry with Rowlett, of course, across the pond over there, but kind of was one-sided this year. Is that really what the doctor ordered for Rockwall after that really emotional game against Highland Park a week after last?
Yeah, I think so. And Rowlett's a very good team, and they always have been. I feel like that in this game, particular, Rockwall was chomping at the bit to, they did what they were supposed to do the week before, and you sometimes don't get the wins, and so they go out there and they're ready to do it again. They're familiar with Rowlett. They've played them, and Coach Webb is very familiar with Coach Stevens and vice versa. So that's always a fun game, and it really doesn't matter. Frankly, I was surprised it was this big of a deficit for Rowlett as far as the final score, because it doesn't matter when Rockwall plays Rowlett. Those 2 teams play really hard, and they play pretty close. That year that Rockwall, we mentioned this before, when Rockwall beat Highland Park and we're on this high, they go to play Rowlett, who had barely lost, but a 13-10 game to Louisville, I believe, thinking, well, we'll go on out there, and Rowlett scored 48 on them in that game, and because they know each other, they know what to do. So when we went to this game, we're very confident with the offense, wanted to see if the defense could do something. We knew that defense was talented, and we also knew they went against one of the best offenses in the state. So let's see what they do, and they, excelled. They were really, really good. They stopped the running game, forced them to pass. They did not want to pass as much as they had to, and that's really what changed it for Rowlett. And even when Rowlett would get in to Rockwall territory, even into the red zone, the defense stood. A couple times Coach Stevens chose to go for it on 4th down and did not convert, and that defense just really came to play. And I know that they wanted to get the shutout at the end, but you got to get everybody in there, and sometimes you can't hold it. But a really good performance all around. You talk about the quarterbacks. Locke, 382 yards passing, 351 of it was in the first half. He came in for 1 series in the second half. The starting receivers did not come back. A number of the linemen didn't come back. And so to continue to do that, loved seeing Haney come in. Matthew Haney came in. Big kid. But it reminds me of when Oklahoma had that kid, the bulldozer, whatever he was. Yeah. Haney just came in there and started running over guys. And so that was fun. to see some new kids come in and the backfield. You had Jalen McKay come in. He rushed for 40 yards in his opportunities when he came in for Catlett. And to see the receivers like Bays and Jax Johnson and Caden Marshall get some catches, this is really good all around for this team. And as you mentioned, it is what the doctor ordered. I think if Coach Webb could have drawn up how he wanted this game to go, it would have been like that. So we're really excited. And, of course, we always forget to mention because we expect it, but Jackson Smith over 100 yards again. Who knows how many yards these guys get if they get to play the second half. J.J. Williams, another great game. He ends up with 136 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, it was I'm sorry, no touchdowns. Jackson had the 3 touchdowns. But it was just good all around, so I was very excited to see it.
Absolutely. Do we have a count total on what Jackson has at the moment as far as yards goes? Do we have an updated stat on that? We will have that for you next week.
Well, he has 429 right now for
so
this
far.
season. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
I think the highest amount. I don't have his career in front of me. I was looking at it the other day online, and
his career is endless. It's going all the way down there.
Well, he wants to get 2,000 yards this season.
That's very doable.
Which we can't be blowing out teams and not playing the second half to get 2,000 yards. So we're going to keep it close. We'll talk to Webb about that. And let me tell you this stat. This is a very, very good stat that Coach Webb does not want to listen to me and David Rako. But all our wins, of course, most of them are blowouts and Jackson comes out. The lower number yards that Jackson has, we win every game. Okay. It's when he has the higher numbers is when we have a loss now and then. So obviously the plan is to not play Jackson as much.
There you go.
Yeah. Then you win.
There you go.
The numbers don't lie. Of course, I'm kidding because it's those close games that Jackson stays in and racks up the yards.
Absolutely.
And that's why we need him. But anyway, we've tried to push that on Coach Webb, and he listens to us. And then
see how that's working out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure he's excited about getting advice from us. I'm sure Jackson's excited that we think we should play less.
Play less. He wants to get more and more.
But to get back to reality, he could get 2,000 yards this year. Because we know
midway he might have 2,000.
He might. Because as this district we talked about last week, it's a very good district. You're going to be in some close games. And especially in our last 2 non-district games, it's Bowie and Martin. Those are 2 good teams. So he's got a shot. If he gets over 2,000, he's got a shot at the state record. He's got to do a lot. Throw in some playoff games, all that. He can make it. It's going to have to be an exceptional year, but it's not out of reach. But he will definitely get to, I believe, 3rd, 4th around there in Texas standings. So as far as yards go.
Absolutely want to say hey to Naya and Yo Boy Cal. Of course, I did put a message out there to first start. The first person to email me gets 4 tickets to this week's game for Rockwall and Arlington Bowie. Looks like those do go to Yo Boy Cal. So that's your boy Cal. Is going to be at the game to watch the Rockwall Yellow Jackets take on Arlington Bowie. Got those for you as well. Of course, I also have a parking pass for the first person. Email me at chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org. These are very valuable, boys.
They are.
Very, very valuable.
You're moving us.
We're all moving for our fans.
Out in the North 40.
Yeah. I'm just going to pull my suitcase from my house.
Well, you have an airplane, a boat. You're
we
good.
Do, but
chopper,
we can't land near the stadium anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Jerry.
If Jerry can, you can, I think. I think you got Jerry's stats, of course. But, of course, we do have a parking pass for a lucky fan. If you email me, chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org, that parking pass is yours for this week only. Real quick, let's touch base once again on Rockwall Heath. It's been 4 years since we've been 2-0. Very impressive for Rockwall Heath. So the mood around town is fired up. That's really just point blank what you can ask for. That's what we expected to kind of come here. That's what Spradlin was preaching. You're living in Heath. You're feeling the fan base. You're at the middle school games as well. So kind of talk about what that fan base is feeling right now and how excited they are.
Yeah, it's a whole different feel. You have, obviously, at Kane, you've got younger brothers and sisters of junior varsity and varsity players. And, last night we're at the 8th grade game, and the Heath coaching staff is standing on the sideline, cheering the guys on, watching the game. And that just hasn't happened. It hasn't been part of the norm. And so in celebrating big plays and had a big pass reception for a touchdown last night with one of the 8th grade receivers, and the offensive coordinator from Heath is high-fiving and having a good time. And so it's just a whole different feel. It's really brought the community together, which I think is something that has been lacking. And it's something that you can build on it, and we'll be able to build on what's happening on the football field on Friday night, which is it just brings a community together, and we're getting to experience that.
Absolutely, and sticking with Rockwall Heath, I have a giveaway for Rockwall Heath as well. This isn't just for the next home game. This is for the rest of the season. A parking pass for the rest of the season. So if you are a Rockwall Heath fan, you're out there watching, email me chris.curtis@rockwallisd.org. You cannot have that, but you can model it if you would like, of course. And we will make that happen for sure. So I appreciate everybody tuning in right here, of course, and welcoming that, of course. If you want that parking pass for the rest of the Rockwall Heath season as well, shoot me an email. So, boys, let's look ahead now. It's a new week, and of course, we're excited about the home team first. Let's start with you guys. Rockwall will take on number 5. Rockwall will take on number 15, Arlington Bowie. Not a rollover game by any stretch of the imagination. We're very excited about this week. Of course, we're at the Flower Box in Rest Haven because they are sponsors of this week's game. It's First Responders Night. Of course, today is September 11th, so we're definitely remembering everybody and our thoughts. Of course, today a very sad day in American history, but we obviously want to continue to remember those lives that were lost, and also honor those that protect us every single day, especially here in Rockwall County. So we're grateful for all those that do that every single day for us. And we got a little sponsorship here, so I want you to model these up. These are fans. For the first 500 fans,
Stan, you
get
want
it?
to hold the Rockwall?
The first 500 fans this week will receive fans right here given away by Rest Haven. We thank Rest Haven for sponsoring those as well. There you go. Looks good.
That's a great place.
Yeah.
It's a great product placement, of course. But so for the First Responders Night will begin at 7:15. Of course, we'll honor those. Of course, that is sponsored by Rest Haven Funeral Home. So we're very excited about that event and to give thanks back to those that give us so much. But moving forward to the football game, a very important football game for Rockwall. Continue to get in that mojo going, of course. Talk a little bit about what Rockwall's going to be looking at here against a tough Bowie team.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy run team. This team is similar to Longview to a degree of as far as they like to run the ball. They've got 3 really good running backs that'll rotate. That a kid last year, Prevost, that just got finished with just under 1,000 yards rushing. He's back. And then their quarterback runs it a lot. Ponder is the kid that does their quarterback, and they don't throw it too much. Only 22 attempts on the whole season, just like 370 yards, which we were joking around. That's into the first quarter for our guys.
Right.
Yeah. But they run the ball. I'm pretty sure our yards and rushing don't stack up with what Bowie's doing. So they just have a different style of offense, which is something that is an adjustment for a lot of these teams and these defenses. So it's another challenge for our defense to go out there and be ready for this rushing attack. And it's a multifaceted rushing attack. It's not just, hand it and go up the middle and see what we can do. So this will be a challenge for the Rockwall defense against Bowie. And you go to the other side with their defense. They have a really good linebacking core. They lost a lot of seniors left, and so, which they have to, if I understand it right. When you're a senior, you have to graduate.
No fifth-year seniors.
Right, okay. So they have a solid defense, and so it's going to be a challenge for this offense of ours also to make some hay against them. They last year made it to the bi-district round, lost in the bi-district. This year they're 2-0, and they beat Marcus 28-14, and then they beat Mansfield 40-20. So they've had a good start, and number 15 in the area, and it's going to be another challenge. It's going to be fun, and I also want to say thank you to Rest Haven and Flower Box to Dwayne and Ann for sponsoring this. They've done it for the past few years, and it's a super important night for us. I know it is for all those that attend, and especially for all those first responders, because you mentioned that 9/11 is a very, very tough day to get through. I'm talking to my kids in my classes, and we're talking about it, and I realize that none of these kids were alive when this happened. Even the seniors, they may have been born right when it was around them, but that's it. So to try to explain the depth of just horror that we went through that day to see is almost impossible. So we do want to thank Dwayne and Ann for doing this, because those first responders, as you mentioned, that's what first thing comes to mind. And every day these people go to work and they don't know what to expect, no matter where you're at, what you're doing. We kind of have a ballpark of what we're going to be doing. And so thank you for them. And most of all, thank you for the first responders, and hope everybody comes out and gets on the field, and we'll pack that stadium again with them.
There's a probationary class. I saw this today. It's really interesting fact on Twitter. There's a probationary class coming out of FDNY. 13 of the recruits in that class, their parents passed away on 9/11. So
Yeah.
it's like incredible to think about. It's been
Yeah.
long enough for us to do that, but what a cool legacy.
Absolutely.
13 of those coming to serve at the
And then when I told my kids that for the first week afterwards there was nothing on TV other than the news, that horrified them.
That's all we could
That
watch.
was the hard thing
Yeah.
for them to gather themselves
Absolutely.
on that one. But yeah, but that's a tough time.
We were excited to do this event this year. Of course, last year it was rained out, so we weren't able to do it this year. So this year I think it's going to be 112 and sunny, so we should be just fine.
Make it
So
well.
bring the AC. There you go.
Thank you, first
That's why we got the fans to cool you off. So
Yeah.
we're good to go. No rain is expected tomorrow, or Friday, so we should be good to go. Switching gears to Rockwall Heath, of course. Rockwall Heath is going to go on the road for the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
So the first time this year as far as a road game is concerned. So talk about Richland. Talk about a little bit what we're expecting from them.
Yeah,
and, of
so,
course, first road test of the year.
Yeah, travel over to Birdville Athletic Complex on the other side of Fort Worth, or
You want
north
a
side of
copter?
Fort Worth. If we can I put some stickers over
I'm
the side?
fine with that.
Okay, all
We'll
right.
do a little duct tape
Yeah,
with the
so,
Hawk
yeah,
logo
we got
on
some-
top. There you go.
That's a good drive.
We'll just spray paint.
Well,
But we'll go over to Birdville, face off against Richland. Of course, last year, Richland 28-14 win over your Hawks. As they're coming off, the Hawks are coming off a game I think they expected to win. I don't think they expected it to be a double overtime thriller. Hoover has 455 and 5 touchdowns, gives him 764 and 8 touchdowns on the season. Have a 100-yard receiver for the second time this season. And then now we actually had 200-yard receivers in last week's game. And so look to build on that. Richland is 0-2 on the season. They have lost to Frisco Lone Star, obviously state-ranked team. They beat them 55-3. And then Keller Central, district game for Richland. They lost them 23-13 this past week. Kind of similar to Bowie in the passing game, only 329 yards passing for the season for their quarterback, Cade Benson. And then on the ground, only 58 yards for their leading rusher, Brandon Johnson. So looking at a team that is young, they're coming in kind of inexperienced, and so I think the Hawks look to capitalize on that, on the youth and the inexperience there, but also kind of working out some of the kinks. We in the second half last week had several personal fouls that we've talked quite a bit about, where we beat ourselves in the second half. You jump out to a 24-10 lead at halftime. Everything looks like you're on cruise control, and we come out in the first series, second series of the second half, and it was just penalty after penalty after penalty. And it really killed the momentum, allowed Wiley to score 21 unanswered points and send it to overtime. So you get outscored basically 21-0 in the last 19 minutes of the game. And, looking to fix those things, that's what pre-district is for. Work out some of the kinks, get the things ironed out that you need to. And the Hawks look to go on the road and get a win against a team that has struggled this year. For all intents and purposes, it looks like it's a game you're going to win, but it's also one of those ones that can sneak up on you like a roulette, and they can hang 40 on you, and all of a sudden you're playing from behind. But Spradlin obviously has talked to his guys about last week and what went wrong and what to plan for, and they'll be prepared to play against a Richland team on the road for the first time this year.
Absolutely. We had a lot of viewers, over 1,000 hits last week on the show, and one of the big important things that a lot of people said, thank you guys for doing, was giving a shout out to somebody that doesn't get a lot of love, essentially. Not so much on the broadcast, they're on the paper, they're not on TV. So I'm going to give this question back to you guys as a few others log in, like Gold 45, Rockwall Soccer says, what's up, fellas, JF&D. Nick Harris is joining in. Coach Bowles is in. So just kind of asking a question. Tell me a little bit about someone that maybe surprised you this past week that maybe we haven't heard a lot about, and who you're going to be eyes on as far as this Friday night goes. We'll start with Rockwall.
Brendan Ray, the H-back. He's really doing well. And he is officially the backup to Kwiatkowski, but he has come in and made some plays, got his first touchdown last week. But not only is he catching passes, he's making crucial blocks. And there's been a few screen passes that have gone big, and it's Ray that's out there leading the way. So I've enjoyed watching him. And I have to say, Jalen McKay, I mentioned him before, came in at running back. He had some really strong runs and kept that ball moving for Rockwall in the second half to give the starters rest. So those two guys are people that stood out to me and have made some plays. And then over on defense, I mentioned it before, but Jake Edwards has had a good season so far, 2 interceptions. Has made some big plays. And then Sebastian Hinojosa, the nose guard for Rockwall. he was dominating in that game against Rowlett. I can't tell you how many times the minute that quarterback would turn around, when Rowlett would turn around to hand it off, Hinojosa is greeting him and letting him know that you better do this quickly. And so that was fun. Got a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And so I thought that Sebastian had a really good game. So it was just really fun to see. And one more, P.J. Barber's having a really good season so far out of the cornerback position. Made some big tackles, got us a couple pass breakups. So those are some guys that are really stepping up. And expect them to do well, but they're really going above and beyond right now.
Coach J.E. Lancaster chimes in, says doing a great job, boys. And, of course, Will Dillon has logged in as well.
Coach Lancaster?
He's in. He's in.
All right. Well, I can guarantee you this. We're doing a better job than what he does on the scoreboard for baseball. I'm just saying that. And we could
okay, here we go.
We could probably mail it in. He knows what I'm saying.
Okay.
He knows what I'm saying.
Things got awkward, but we're good. I hope he knows what's going on.
No, I'm kidding. It's a subliminal message. Yeah. We give J.E. a hard time. He does the scoreboard for baseball, and he'll miss a strike or two, and then I'll look over and he's telling a fun-filled story, and
that's what he's known for.
Yes, it's exactly what he's
good stuff.
So I love Coach Lancaster. It's fun to have him around baseball. I'm glad he's listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Coach. And, of course, Stan, same question to you. Who's somebody that really stood out on Friday night in that double overtime victory, and who eyes are going to be on this week?
Yeah, I think offensive line as a unit, Hoover's only been sacked once this season so far, and he's got almost 60 pass attempts through 2 games. And the one sack was just an all-out blitz from Wiley late in the game that there was just no way to pick up everybody that was coming. And but this offensive line has done a fantastic job of gelling together as a unit and opening up holes. Zach Evans has had just a couple of really good games as a sophomore as well, sophomore running back. So this offensive line, just a huge stride forward for Heath as far as O-line is concerned. Of course, you have John Harrell coming over from Stephenville, played for Spratt at the University of Houston on the offensive line, and coming over now to be the O-line coach. And that addition to the team has made a huge difference. I think on defense, the incredible sack in late in the third quarter, Chris Lozano timing the count. So Wiley went to a silent count about halfway through the second quarter. And they spent about a quarter and a half figuring it out. And I was talking to Chris last night at the Kane game, and he said, yeah, we figured out that usually on early downs it was a clap in 2 seconds, and then on late downs it was a clap in 1 second. And he timed it on a third down deep in their territory and just nailed the quarterback. And so look for him to have a great game. Did an excellent job there late in the game for the Hawks last week.
Absolutely need that offensive line, especially 2 sophomore quarterbacks. Got to protect those boys.
That's right.
Nice. Well, of course, Coach Lancaster said, it's on. And our camera guy, James Tramble, already emailed me and said, I want those parking passes. So, James, you cannot have those parking passes, and Coach Lancaster says it is on.
I like to hear that.
Those 2
parking
passes.
One of the best guys around.
Absolutely.
Yes. He's backpedaling now.
He's backpedaling, of course. Now he knows he's in trouble.
Did I mention how good he is on the baseball scoreboard?
So, yeah, definitely excited about that. Of course, Stillwell Jason has logged in as well. Welcome everybody coming in. Of course, if you're just joining us, we do have 2 parking passes left. As far as this week goes, we have a season parking pass for Rockwall Heath, and we have a Game 2 parking pass, which is your Rockwall Yellow Jackets against Arlington Bowie. Still available. The tickets have been won by Jennifer and Brian. So those will be available at the administration building tomorrow for you guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys out the game this Friday night. Of course, First Responders Night this Friday night. Very excited. Sponsored by Rest Haven Funeral Homes. Very excited about that. We are live at the Flower Box here. Of course, this beautiful arrangement is not just for Billy and Stan. It's provided by our friends here at.
I'd like to tell you what I did when I made this. I
with
started the roses.
We were worried about the big head, so now we know that's true. So, but yeah, and also the wonderful popcorn basket here behind us. Very important. I'm going to let James zoom in on that for you as well. So very excited about that. You got to move the head, Billy. There you go. So very excited about that. Check that out for our wonderful friends here at the Flower Box, of course, the Kane family. Very, very generous for us as well. So much love and much thanks to them. And of course, the first 500 fans this Friday get a fan. I feel like that's part of the fan on 105.3 The Fan. That's not a plug for them, but we need to figure some out for that. So looking around the district, let's kind of talk about that before we kind of dive in a little further. Some things that maybe you noticed in the district, of course, Longview still rolling right along. We knew that was going to kind of happen. So some things in the district that stands out to you as far as the standings go. The surprises, Longview stands atop, but everyone else still trending right up.
Well, I'd say Lee out to a 2-0 start. They're doing pretty good. They beat John Tyler. That's a big game
win
out there, and they beat them handily, 34-7. So you did not see that over the last few years. So John Tyler taking it on the chin a little bit in that one. So Lee looks like somebody we need to worry about a little bit. Mesquite jumps out to a 2-0 record. They beat Grand Prairie 37-9 their last game, and then Horn is a team that we're all worried about. We know how good they're going to be, and they had to they had to play Highland Park, and they lost to Highland Park eventually 52-25. They kept it close for a while, but then they got a game up against Cedar Hill. I think about our non-district and how tough it is. Horn just goes out there. They're playing Cedar Hill, Highland Park. I mean, it's just it's unbelievable. And Allen,
I think DeSoto's there before.
Is it really?
I think so.
So that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so very impressive. And so I think those are the teams right now. Jump out Longview, of course. They're out there. They destroyed Marshall, as you mentioned, 53-0, wasn't it? Yeah. And they played John Tyler next. And if I'm John Tyler, I'm running for the hills.
Absolutely.
That's tough.
You didn't mention your neighbors. 2-0 Heath.
Well, we talked about it. We've been talking about it. They're doing well. From what I understand, the coaches are now going to see the middle school teams, which is very exciting. That's a cool thing.
See?
Yeah, that's a very cool thing.
I don't know a little bit, Stan.
Look,
I'm glad he's
how
listening.
well that helps you when you go and look at the kids coming up. It's amazing how you can jump to 2-0 that quickly. No, Heath is the team to for us right now. That's one to worry about. But I thought we've been giving them some pub. I'd go some other guys.
Just need to give them a little more.
Okay,
Got to enjoy that 2-0 start.
I am very, very excited about Coach Spradlin.
Yes,
and we've mentioned this before. It's really cool having him over there and what he's doing and the energy he brings.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Any thoughts on the district as far as you?
I think you have your what we were talking about last week. Your dark horses that really have jumped out to good starts, and you've got 3 teams in the district at 2-0, and the rest of the teams at 500 right now, but. You're getting a look at some teams that are trying to rebuild, that are being successful at that with Mesquite, North Mesquite, Horn, and obviously Horn's not off to an 0-2 start on the way to an 0-7 start like last year, and so you've got a team that seems to be gelling together under a new coaching staff over there. You have your typical perennial powerhouses in our district, and they're all ones that everybody circles on the schedule and says, okay, you've got to be ready for those games. And I think there's a few others now in the fray that you go, we don't need to overlook that one. This is going to be a good game for us to either continue to march ahead, or we might lose our heads on those games. And so, everybody's looking forward to. I know I am looking forward to October 11th and facing off against the Yellow Jackets. It's a game we are ready. It's
apparently a big game around here.
It is. It's kind of a rivalry game. It's one of those ones. I mean, we play Longview the next week after that.
I mean, it's bang for you, yeah.
So, but it is. I do think you have the benefit of scheduling a little bit, where I think we both play Longview and each other back to back. Do you guys play Longview before, and then we play them after?
No, we got Longview first. That's our first. And then we have Horn, and then we have Heath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just looking at that from the standpoint of playing your biggest rivals in the first 3 weeks of the district season. It makes a difference. You have to be ready, and so this pre-district schedule is so important. And you're seeing the rest of our district teams. I mean, I don't know that anybody expected Mesquite to be 2-0, and they are. And they're not just eking by 2-0 wins. I mean, they're dominating wins over 6A opponents, and so we can't play that off like they're playing some 4A school or 5A school. They're playing 6A talent, and they're playing them very, very well. It's scored 87 points this season so far. So, you don't want to overlook those, and it really just makes the district schedule that much more fun, I think, as you try to secure a playoff berth and get to the postseason.
And talking about Mesquite real quick, we both, last year, that was a win for Heath. It was like, was that the 6-4 win?
Yeah, okay. The baseball score.
Yeah. And then now I got that forward pass, and so it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah,
it's made national headlines, by the way.
We did. So we're hoping for 13 points against Mesquite. Yeah, we're hoping we get 2.
You would have more than double that.
2 field goals and a touchdown. That's the.
But Rockwall, when they played when they played Mesquite, it was the same thing. It was it was tough. That was a tough game, and I think it's now you see them this year keeping it together and going out there and using that momentum. they're one of the teams that I'm worried about here in this district. I mean, like you said, you have the long views, and Lee's always in it, and Heath, but Mesquite's that other one. That's that one you're like, gosh, this is.
I think we've always seen it as it's always 4 or 5 teams for spots. I think you're starting to see where it could easily
start growing up
6 or 7. All 7 of the teams fighting for a spot, and it really is you win the games you expect to win, and then you pull out a few wins that maybe people go, there's no way. If you're able to pull those out, I think it does obviously improve your chances. But it's not a cakewalk district. It's not one of those ones where we go, they take 4 and we'll be in the top 3. We'll be fine. You really do have 7 teams fighting for 4 spots.
It's not baseball.
It's not. No,
exactly.
It is not.
In baseball, there's 2.
That's
it's us.
That's
and
right.
then let's go ahead and
that's right.
Let's
move on.
Yeah.
And I think you see that in several of the sports, but in football, it does seem to be a very balanced district. And you just have to be careful. You've got to be ready every week to play.
Absolutely. Our wonderful superintendent logged on. Dr. V is watching, of course, so we thank him for being our number 1 fan as always. And guys, there's one more district game, or one non-district game essentially after this week. Talk about that it's going to be a Thursday and Friday night affair next week. Of course, Heath up first once again on a Thursday. Yep. But a nice little facility we're heading to on Thursday. Excited about McKinney North.
We go to the $72 million new McKinney ISD Stadium in its 2nd season. Face off against the Bulldogs in McKinney North, 5-18. And it's homecoming for them, so we get to hopefully play spoiler. That's the plan anyway, and go up and face off against a team that went 5-5 last year. But has had some names in the past that have gone on to play at the next level, and so they're a school that's able to develop talent. And we want to obviously go up there and spoil homecoming on Thursday night at their brand new facility, and go 4-0 in pre-district play.
Absolutely. And then speaking of homecoming, Rockwall comes right back home next week. They face off against a tough Arlington Martin team. Not exactly an easy homecoming game by any stretch of the imagination, but it is homecoming, so excited to have everybody come back home and hopefully put a W on the board for Rockwall.
Yeah. First of all, most important thing about homecoming, we're trying to find a convertible for my daughter to ride in the parade. So if anybody's got a convertible
out there,
let me know. But that's a tough one, and it's hard nowadays to have a quote unquote easy team for homecoming.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. Back when I played, we were everybody's homecoming. And homecoming used to be at halftime.
Right.
They would do a lot. So halftime was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that was but nowadays
those were the days.
Yeah. But nowadays it's really hard to get a team that you should beat for homecoming to make it a happy day. And definitely ain't Martin. Martin is something else and very talented. The kid that's at quarterback for him, he got thrown in at the very last minute in the game we played him last year. In fact, Coach Webb's like, we didn't know this kid existed. But they had injuries and other things, so he comes in, and he did pretty well considering the situation he was in. But Rockwall had a really good game against him last year, scored 77, I think, in that one last year. And I don't think we'll hit 77.
You say that now. You never know.
Let's see. But, I'm not against
Jackson plays the whole game.
That's right. Again, yeah. Let's see. But it's a very, very difficult team to play. It's one of the best teams in the area and in the state. So it's another one that I know that we'll have Wilkerson Sanders packed and be a fun night, especially if they win homecoming. It'll be good.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you want to listen to either game, of course, this week, it's www.rockwallisd.com. Of course, Rest Haven and the Firebox, great sponsors of your Rockwall Yellow Jackets and Rockwall Heath Hawks. Any final comments as far as the football season goes? We'll kind of dive into a few more things as far as the high schools go. But any final thoughts as far as going ahead this week and battling, trying Heath going 3-0 and then Rockwall moving to 2-1? Start with Rockwall.
Well, I think the main thing for me is, of course, you want to keep things rolling for Rockwall here as far as the offense keeps clicking, the defense continues to play well and build on things. And this is horrible to say, but everybody needs to be healthy. Let's stay healthy for these next 2 and get ready for district. I know we got a couple kids banged up, and they may not see action in the next 2 games just to make sure. But I love that Rockwall plays these very, very tough teams in non-district. It's a big thing to Coach Webb, I know, and it's needed. When you want to go win a state championship, let's play some state championship caliber teams. Let's see how we stack up, and that's what we do. And I love playing these tough games. Some people are always like, how come you're not playing teams that you can beat? Well, what do you learn from that? And so that's makes the pre-district, as you mentioned, or the non-district, exciting. And we're blessed that 3 of the 4 are at home this year because of the little fluky thing that happened with Bowie where we had to grab them at the last minute. So they played both here, last year and this year. So I'm very excited about seeing what they can do against the 2 Arlington teams, and then getting ready for Longview, and
that'll be a battle. That will be a battle, of course.
I have a feeling a few people will be watching.
And that might be a pretty popular game, not only in the area but in the state. And of course, Stan, any final thoughts on the Heap Hawks looking to go 2-1 here on the young season? Or 3-0. Sorry, 3-0.
Wow.
Sorry, 3-0.
You're
Wow.
calling it a loss.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking Rockwall here, 3-0.
Wow.
Don't take that, Stan.
Right.
Come on.
So looking to go 3-0 for the first time since 2013. So a 6-year gap since the last time Heap's been 3-0. And this is an opportunity as you look at Richland last year lost 28-14. McKinney North was a 28-22 loss last year. This team is capable of scoring points. I think it's going to be a matter of can they get out of their own way. So penalties, things that are definitely fixable. They just have to stay out of their own way. In preparation for a Tyler Lee team that comes to town for homecoming October 4th, that we have to be ready for. So it's just an opportunity that the Hawks are going to have to begin to look at this from the standpoint of staying out of their own way, playing their game, dictating the pace, much like they did in the first half last week. I mean, Hoover goes 252 and 3 touchdowns in the first half, comes out in the second half and has to really play from behind because Wiley scored 21 unanswered points. One thing that was very interesting is just the whole demeanor of the coaching staff in the box next to us. As we're getting ready for overtime, you go into the second overtime and hold Wiley to a field goal. And first play from the 25, Hoover goes right side to Jaden Jones in the back corner of the end zone, and you watch the entire box just erupt. Exciting, papers going everywhere, everybody's excited. I think that's the kind of energy that's going to push this Hawks team into the district schedule, and hopefully they're talking about coming into a Rockwall game at 5-0, which would be
huge.
2008 is the last time they were 5-0. They started that season 5-2 and then ended up 13-2 or 12-2 that season. So it's an opportunity to do some things that he hasn't done in a long time, and you've got a lot of the pieces in place that are going to help that happen.
I got one more thing I want to throw out. I just saw today. Rockwall had the uniforms, the black, angry orange uniforms.
Number 1.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pepper number 1 uniform so far.
It's the black and orange.
It's the black and orange that they picked. They like it.
It's sharp.
I like
it. Tell you.
So that was cool. I know that old Rockwall's having a tough time with it, and I understand. But these kids love these uniforms. A lot of new people, they love these uniforms, and whatever gets these players motivated even more, all right, let's go with it. So I was excited to see that those uniforms got some.
I'll say it, even as a Hawk faithful, it's a sharp uniform combo. I like it.
And got to give Coach Webb credit for it. He figured out
the combo.
Yeah, but he figured out the combo over the summer. He was putting the combos together, and he put that out there and went with it. And he knew he would get some heat, but I think it worked out.
It'll be interesting to see what he throws out on the road.
They have some nice new uniforms too.
So
new threads.
We've done white pants and red tops. We've done black pants and red tops now. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go on record and say I think we're probably going to end up in white pants, white tops on the road. So all white, red, black numerals. I think it's going to grow.
Okay, helmet. Y'all are white helmet.
A white helmet. Yep.
With the H.
Double armored H.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there going to be any other color helmet? Or is it going to be white helmet all year?
I think it's white helmet all year.
Right.
So yeah,
I like them. They're sharp.
They look really good. So it'll be interesting to see what they throw out. We've got some gray tops that may come out at some point. 6 different combos sprouting throughout. And it'll be interesting to see how he plays those through the season. But the red, black, and the white and black, or white and red, have looked really, really sharp.
Well, we want to thank everybody for logging in, of course, this week. Once again, thank you to the Flower Box. Of course, we do have volleyball kicking off this week as well, as far as district goes. So a lot of excitement. Cross country is doing great. Everything is really running smooth right now for Rockwall ISD. A lot of great things happening around the district. Go out there and support your team. And, of course, our football teams here this upcoming week. Any final thoughts? Of course, once again, thank you to Rest Haven, and, of course, thank you to the Flower Box. We'll see everybody at the Wilk and, of course, on the road for Richland this week as well. And then next week we'll be at T3 Chiropractic so you guys can get your backs cracked, get the stress away, and all that fun stuff. So we are churning right along. And once again, thank you to Miss Kane for having us out here at the Flower Box. I know they're staying out late, of course. So
where's Dwayne? Love seeing Ann.
Yeah,
and that's the best part of it. Getting to see Ann, and she's the nicest woman in Rockwall. But
can this be the Rockwall version of Where's Waldo?
Could be.
It could be.
And you don't know. Well, Waldo, we don't know where Dwayne is like all around the world. She mentioned that he's in Barbados.
He is all around the world.
Yes, and then she said,
So
I was joking.
This is more like Carmen San Diego.
Right, there you go. Okay. There you go.
All right.
And so
that's a cartoon reference for you.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you're hitting our target is not understanding what you're talking about. And so, but Dwayne, an old Yellow Jacket, and maybe
he will be there Friday. I can confirm.
he will be there.
He will be there Friday, and you'll be rocking the horse.
I'm excited about seeing Dwayne here.
Barbados.
I guess.
Nice and tan, and yeah, there you go.
That dude, he lives the life.
He does live the life.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody for watching. Of course, if you didn't catch the show, you can always watch it on Twitter and YouTube. Of course, we'll have that feed up here very shortly. You can go back and watch this whole thing and listen to it in the car, do whatever you feel like. Billy's going to go back and check, make sure he looks good in it, of course.
Do some editing.
Of course. That's now kind of your job now, so I like it. So, guys, once again, thank you for joining us. Of course, once again, thank you to the Flower Box. It's a great place. Come out here, get your floors done. They do homecoming. You got the memo on that. I didn't
they will provide, not the moms, no moms, but they'll do, like for the homecoming parade, the girls have the bouquets and the guys have the boutonnieres. And so they can take care of you there too. So come out to the Flower Box to get those taken care of. The bouquets and boutonnieres for the parades and they'll be on the field, and all that kind of stuff.
If anybody wants to buy a bouquet for Billy, I mean,
I thought
that is all yours.
Okay.
That's for you.
All right.
That's for you. Only for you.
I can pretend I bought it and give it to Otto.
Yeah. There you go. But of course, once again, thank you to the Flower Box coming out here. Of course, a very beautiful place, very nice stuff here. So thank you for their wonderful hospitality, guys. Any final thoughts? We wrap it up here for our third week of the Rockwall Sportscenter show.
Well, I'll say this. This is the best Stan has ever smelled. And I figured out that
there you go.
It's the flowers. It's not.
It is the flowers. Oh, we do have flowers here
to
take home to your wonderful flowers.
Do we really?
And they are in the color
of widows.
Football widows.
The in between God, the balance.
Yeah. Well, you got somebody to take them to now.
I do. Yes.
Future wife.
Future wife.
Which, by the way, we have not congratulated Chris on the air.
That's right.
On his future engagement.
That's right.
So, Chris,
there you go.
Thank you.
Football widow.
Love that.
So there we go. The wives that we have.
Already engaged. So what did we say?
Apparently, Chris decided he was tired of having an opinion.
It's in 2020. Where we got another year to go.
But didn't you guys pick the I-30 Classic week next year?
I think so.
Oh no.
I think so. But I will be listening to both of you. So
okay.
Already,
he's not making decisions. I
will make sure that does happen. Of course.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Of course, thank you again to Miss Kane for these wonderful bouquets.
Yeah, these are beautiful.
They are very beautiful.
Extra points for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
very nice.
Yeah, Stan was in trouble apparently, so we're good now. So, but of course, thank you once again. Of course, first 500 fans get a fan for First Responders Night. We're excited to honor our first responders on Friday night and give back to them as much as we can. Of course, they do so much for us. So once again, if you can't make it to the games this week, it's www.rockwallisd.com. Of course, you can click the red tab for your Heath Hawks and the orange tab for your Rockwall Yellow Jackets. Get out there, support our schools. We're excited. We'll see you back next week at T3 Chiropractic. And don't forget, as we always close out,
Jacket Bite never dies.
go Heath Hawks.
Thank you guys and have a wonderful week. And of course, once again, thank you to our cameraman Jet from behind the camera. Of course, he is a Rockwall grad, so loving that as well for Billy. But he does go to Heath Hawk games as well.
Yes,
so
he does.
He does.
cheers for him.
I can verify he was there last
We can verify that all day long. So
He didn't wear that hat.
he did not wear that hat. He does have a Rockwall hat on. But once again, thank you everybody for joining us. Of course, log on www.rockwallisd.com to check out the games this week. And we'll see you next week from T3 Chiropractic. Have a great week, everybody.